On 24th of November, 1968, an American fighter plane fired a missile that killed 374 people who had sought refuge in Tham Piew, or Piew Cave. This date is observed as an annual day of remembrance in Laos. Good morning, friends. We are in beautiful Sop Lao, northern Laos. I stayed overnight last night. We did big miles on the little wave yesterday. And we're gonna do some more big miles today. So the plan of attack today, initially, I had wanted to come way over here to see some standing stones. And these are megaliths that were built by the people that built the Plain of Jars by their ancestors by 500 years. So it's a really amazing site. It hasn't really been studied by archaeology properly since the 1930s, and a lot of it was damaged during the American War. But yesterday the riding was pretty rough. And honestly, I went some places that probably shouldn't be going alone. I don't know how to fix this bike. There weren't people around for a long ways. It was a little bit dangerous, but I was excited, so I did it anyway. I'm gonna try not to do that today. To go out to the standing stones, it's about 50 kilometers out and 50 kilometers back, and then it's like a 2-hour hike. Those 50 kilometers are, I got enough information that the road is very, very bad. And I was only covering maybe 20-25 kilometers an hour in the bad road yesterday. So even though I am so desperately close to these standing stones, I'm only 50K away. It's a long ways away. And there is a lot of unexploded ordnance in the area, so I was gonna have to pay somebody to show me anyway, and I'm gonna be smart. I'm alone. I'm not gonna go. What we're gonna go instead is we are gonna stop down here, boop doop, at the Tham Piew cave. And that, we gotta put 82 kilometers behind us. I think this road might be a little better, the 1C. But that's where we're heading today. This is a cave site that the local people used as a refuge during the American War, during the Secret War. And it was the site of an incredible tragedy. So I can't just drive past it. We need to get in there and we need to remember those people that died. And for me as an American, to see it, this is what your tax dollars have done for the last, since the Second World War, right? So I'm not trying to be political. I wanna go see what the taxpayers' money does in third world countries in the global south. And Laos is the perfect example of what first world power has done to people that they think are lesser, or I'm not sure, but we're gonna go check it out. It's cold. It's real cold. We're gonna go. Come on. I'm gonna put you guys on my chest on the shitty GoPro again, because the good GoPro uses too much battery. It was kind of dark when I got into town last night, so I didn't notice all this. Or I'd become just so accustomed to it from riding in it all day. Then when you see it fresh after a sleep, it's like, oh yeah, right. This is amazing. We just rode up through the clouds. It was so amazing. It's such a trip to like look out down into the valley and you don't see anything. You just see the clouds. It's so cool. I mean, the sun's breaking up here, but wow. Dagnabbit. That's so fun. It's so fun. It's just too fun. Somebody's cute little hidey hole here. And steam paints. Jody, if you're watching this, I want to build something like this on your property that I'll come and stay in once a year, if that's okay. All right, back to it. We got hours and hours and hours more of this. We got a somber one today, guys. We are at the Tham Piew cave system in northern Laos, and this is a site of one of the worst tragedies of the Secret War, the war that the United States waged against basically the civilian population of Laos for a decade. We've already visited one cave where people took refuge, and this wasn't just the United States, obviously, but the big bombs were dropped by the United States. This whole place was in revolution. You had so many different groups, socialist groups, communist groups. You had the Vietnamese, you had the just farmers and villagers who didn't want anything to do with anything. And those are the people that, I mean, those are your casualties, right? I don't know too much, so we're going to learn together. And the Second Indochina War, aka what we know as Americans as the Vietnam War. And the United States was never operating in Laos, so everything that happened here was a secret war. And maybe upwards of 1 million civilians were killed during that. So that's not something that should be secret. At the end of the First Indochina War, the Geneva Accords designated Laos a neutral country, but the country's neutrality was ignored. The US government funded the Royal Lao government and army, and the Pathet Lao army, the socialist army, the communist army, received support from the Vietnamese revolutionary forces. As fighting intensified during the Second Indochina War, aka the Vietnam War, some villagers fled to a safer area, others moved into nearby caves for shelter and only ventured outside at night to farm and cook. In the late 60s, the bombings became constant, occurring day and night. And it was day and night for a decade. $4 million a day of United States bombs dropped on this tiny country. More bombs were dropped on Laos, which again is like the size of the UK, and now only has about 6 million people. Dropped more bombs here than were dropped in Germany or in Japan during the Second World War. There's just a small plaque here, and on 24th of November 1968, an American fighter plane fired a missile that killed 374 people who had sought refuge in Tham Piew, or Pui Cave. This date is observed as an annual day of remembrance in Laos. So people pile stones in a little remembrance for someone they've lost or a relative they never knew. And then incense and cigarettes. Just to let people know you're thinking about them. You know? It probably doesn't show on camera too well, but it is all black all up top back here. So I wonder if that was from the charring, from the missile, from the fire. Because it's not colored up here as much, but once you get here to this area, it's darkened, like by smoke. I can just assume if the missile came in, direct hit, and the fire just would have gone all the way back. Medicine bottles. I don't want to trip over any of the monuments that people have made to the victims. Oh, there's some artifacts over here. Tin. Wire. metal, part of a table or a bed. It's all charred. Jesus Christ. I guess it could have been for firewood. Like there's charring all here. Yeah. Oh, we've got some bat friends. We've got more of these. There was a bunch of these in that other cave too. I don't know what they're from, but they were everywhere, so they must be from the time period. I don't know. Swapping some furniture or something. It's kind of a nice cave, like for a place of refuge, because there are a lot of these like shelves. So you could have different areas. You know, family groups could have had a little spot up there and a little spot up there. I don't know if it made a difference how deep in the cave you were when the missile came in or not. But like these stones here even, I don't know if these were here before or if these came down when the missile came down or since. You know, it's hard to tell. It's been a long time. But this looks like, I don't know, this looks like all of these fell at the same time. So I hate to think what's under some of them then. Yeah, and the same scorchings over here. Plenty of timber. Your fields are getting bombed. Your son and your husband have gone. Is a gecko in there? I think so. You know, maybe they've joined the communist forces. Maybe they're fighting with the Hmong, you know, on the side of the Americans. And you're just trying to keep the crops going. Trying to keep things at home. Trying to get the kids fed. And you come here every day and you spend the whole day in this cave waiting to when you can go out at night and see to your farm, to cook, to be outside. And then your place of refuge comes crumbling down on top of you by one push of one button from one plane. from somebody who never knew your name and you'd never known theirs. So these were just crushed by these stones. Oh, they were filled with sand. They were barrels, you know, they probably had the entrance sealed up. Filled these with rocks and sand so that shots couldn't come through. And there's another one over here that's crushed. So all of these must have come down when the rocket came down, the same with this. So again, there is it said beyond the cave, and it's like a remembrance center for the victims. It does appear to be closed though, because I would like to know if there were people that were not recovered, because just with the way that the stones have fallen and the resources that the people would have had in 1968 for recovery, I don't know. I think sites like this are so important to remember, obviously for the people, local people who lost loved ones and have community in this site. It's so important that it's here and people can come and mourn and grieve. But that more people need to understand the human stories of places like this, because we hear numbers of 375, and that's 375 Laotian villagers that you don't know. But it's 375 people, mothers, and kids and sisters and husbands and wives and just people like everybody you know. And it's not limited to this 375 people that were killed here. Obviously we have armed conflict all over the world where people are just pressing buttons from some plane or some office 1,000 miles away and is dropping drone strikes that is killing innocent people every day. And if your government is funding that, or if you live in the West, you benefit from that. And it sucks, and that's capitalism, I think. Maybe they get things right here with the old commie socialist stuff. I'm not sure, but yeah. I'm going to link below to more information about what happened here. So you can read archives, you can learn the names of the people that were killed here, because I think that's very, very important. If you have the chance, if you're in northern Laos, pop in. I'm glad I did. I'm really glad I did, because I don't know, I feel a sense of duty or a sense of some stupid white savior bullshit stuff, right? I don't know, but I'm glad I came. I'm glad you guys came with me. If you watch this video, check out the links that I'm gonna provide, because yeah. Oh, and I'll also find a good charity that is cleaning up unexploded ordnance in Laos. So I'm going to link that too. So if you can, like, I'm going to donate like $10 to something. If you can donate too, that would be awesome. Because we still have one person in Laos that is killed or seriously injured by unexploded ordnance every single day. And most of them are children. And those are bombs that the United States dropped that are still on the ground in Laos that missed the target. You know? So thank you guys for watching. I'll see you next time. Hug somebody that you love. I love you. The little museum is open now. And they have a before and after picture here, which is really powerful. So before, people cooking, you know, helping people that were injured inside the cave with their animals, and then after, just destruction and death. The war crime committed by the US Air Force at Tham Piew. 374 people were killed by 2 jet fighters on the 24th November 1968, depicted after interviews with witnesses. So this is eyewitness account. 2 United States planes murdered 374 civilians in this cave. They destroyed temples and schools and farmland. And these are some of the artifacts from inside the cave. Yeah, we found a bunch of those bottles. Where the medical clinic was. Oh, and Buddha's recovered from the cave. All charred. My God. My Lord God Buddha. It's the human remains. We don't need to look at that. It is charred human remains. It's a skull with fire damage, and there's a picture of a young boy who's been burnt quite badly as well. I know everything that's written here is coming from a propagandized point of view, but sometimes the propaganda is real. When you are fighting such an unimaginable, huge enemy such as the United States, nothing's too bad to be true. And that's not just the United States, that's any power, any powerful force that comes in and attacks a force that is not as powerful. That's history over and over and over and over and over. It's not just the US, it's not just here. Apparently this gentleman got 3 bullets to a downed an F4. I don't believe that, but we'll see. Oh, maybe. And there are many images here of people that have been injured or killed after the war from unexploded ordnance. And they are mostly children. But these are some of the people? No, this is the Presidente and the anniversary. They're everywhere in this province, these big ones. People decorate their homes with them. But these aren't the ones that are still killing people, it's the cluster bombs, the cluster munitions. So they're little. When they drop, they're supposed to explode in the air, anti-personnel. But only like half of them exploded, so the rest went in the ground. And now here we are, 40, 50, 60 years later, and kids are still picking them up because it's a shiny ball. And they're still dangerous, and they're still live. Whew. I just toured the cave. It was very powerful, very emotional, incredibly sad. Incredibly sad. Folks here were so nice. There were no other tourists, or no other foreign tourists. There were a group of monks that I chatted with a bit. They were really cool. Some other Lao folks. Everybody said, oh, you gotta be so careful. You gotta be so careful. Careful with the bike. Careful Like I rocked up, I asked on the translator, asked the lady that ran the restaurant, can I park my bike with my bags here next to your restaurant? And then I'll eat lunch. She said, of course. And so I come back, I'm eating lunch, and I wanted sticky rice. I asked for sticky rice. She didn't have any. And I said, oh, just regular white rice is fine. She sent her mother to the neighboring restaurant to get sticky rice for me. So I got my sticky rice, my cabbage, with lots and lots of garlic. Yum. And I don't know what these are. And fried eggs. And I am so happy with that. And I got a full sugar Pepsi because they do not have my 0 sugar anything, which we're in the middle of nowhere. It's not the middle of nowhere. It's somebody's everything. So it's not the middle of nowhere, but I can do with a full sugar Pepsi. I'm not going to relapse, am I? Oh, give me the full sugar. I just saw this as I was driving by, so I circled back. Cluster munitions machine clearance project from the last couple of years. There must have been these fields here. That's great. That means that these people can finally utilize these fields. Half of those cluster bombs didn't explode. They're still here. And this, the whole province at one point, up until recently was it's a no-go zone. I think even my travel insurance, if I get blown up here, I don't think it covers it. Because it's just a no-go zone. The Japan Mine Action Service. Thank you, Japan Mine Action Service. Great job. My bag fell off. It fell off way down there. It's just clothes, and then, but in the top, it's the extra camera stuff, which is fine, but it's my laptop too, which is in a hard case, so I hope it's gonna be fine. But I gotta strap her back on. I was thinking like, oh, the saddle feels more comfortable. I have more room because my bag was falling off. Well, shit, let's fix that. I spotted kittens outside my hotel room. Oh no, they're feral. They're feral. Love me, kittens, love me. Love me, feral kittens. Oh, you guys live in there? It's so sad to live in there. Don't you want to come to see me and I'll give you so many nice treats? Come on, little kittens. They don't want to play.